Today's fairy tale is a fantastic story from Syria that starts out feminist, gets ableist, and then racist, but it's so interesting. It's called Wiles. There's a rich merchant who keeps a sign in his store that says, "Men's wit beats women's wiles." One day, a blacksmith's daughter, a beautiful girl who had drunk her fill of mother's milk, comes by and the sign pisses her off. So she decides to teach the merchant a lesson. She goes inside and then she suddenly starts crying. The merchant's like, "Oh my God, girl, what's wrong with you?" And then she looks up with her eyes like mirrors and says, "Do you see any fault in my eyes?" He felt a little faint and he goes, "No, your eyes are more beautiful than a gazelle's." Then she's like, "What about my arms? Is there anything paler or finer than this?" And he's like, No, your arms are gorgeous." She lifts her gown and says, "Is there something wrong with my feet?" And he's like, "No, those are the daintiest feet I've ever seen." She rips off her headcloth and her hair falls down in thick black ropes. And she goes, "Is something wrong with my hair?" And he's like, "No, your hair is beautiful." So she finally says, "I am the daughter of a local judge." And she's not, she's the blacksmith's daughter. "But I'm afraid I'll never get married because every time a man comes to ask for my hand, my father says I'm bald and lame and cross-eyed. And then they leave. A woman needs marriage and protection in this world. What shall I do?" So he's like, "Don't worry, I will come to your father tomorrow. I will ask for your hand in marriage." And she's like, "Even if he tells you all of those things?" He's like, "Yeah, I'll tell him I want you no matter what." So he goes to the judge the next day and says, "Hey, I want to marry your daughter." And he's like, "She's cross-eyed." He's like, "Don't care. She's lame. She's crippled. Don't care. She's bald. Don't care." Then the dad's like, "Okay, well, can you bring the bride money?" And he's like, "Yep." And he comes and he brings it. The next night, there's a wedding procession. They bring the daughter in a basket. And then when they're alone in the bridal chamber, he opens it and she is bald and lame and crippled and cross-eyed. He's like, "Who are you?" She's like, "I'm the judge's daughter." And he's like, "When you came to my store, you were as beautiful as the full moon." So he doesn't touch her, just sits on his bed like, what am I gonna do? The next morning he goes to work and our girl comes in and she's like, "Hey, I heard you got married." He's like, "How dare you do this to me? Why would you do this to me?" She points to that sign, "Men's wits beat women's wiles." And she goes, "Whose wits are sharper now?" He's like, "Is that what made you mad enough to do this to me?" And she goes, "Mm-hmm." She goes, "It's cool though. I'll help you out of this situation if you change your sign." And he's like, "Okay, whatever." So he changes the sign. Women's wiles beat men's wits, and the girl tells him what to do. She says, "Okay, go to the edge of town where the group of people that are often called one name that is considered a slur by many of them now, so I will call them the Romani, what they are really called, or travelers. Go to those people, hire a bunch of them to come play all their music around your place. And then when the judge comes by and he says, 'Who are all these people?' say, 'They are your family, that you are of Romani stock.' He'll be so mad his family has married into that family that he will demand a divorce." So he does that, and when the judge comes by, it totally works. He's like, "If I knew this, I never would have let my daughter marry into this tribe of people." He took his daughter home, and it said the merchant slept in peace the whole night through. The next morning, he goes to the blacksmith shop, and he goes to him and he says, "Hey, I want to marry your daughter." And he's like, "All right, if you can pay the bridal price." And he's like, "Nope. I want to see her first." The blacksmith is like, "This is never done. You don't get to see her before the wedding. This is so uncalled for." The merchant says, "I got tricked once. I'm not getting tricked again. I will give you 1,000 times the bride price if you let me see her right now." Hearing this offer, the blacksmith said, "Okay." So he brings her out, and it is our girl who played the trick on him. So the two of them get married. There is great feasting and rejoicing, and it said that they lived in happiness as pure as gold of 24 carats. That can make us assume she wanted to marry him too. I hope so. I mean, we definitely know he'll never try to pull anything over on her. As always, check out my book, Dust Spells, a reimagining of the 12 Dancing Princesses, and my podcast. All the links are in the bio.